Welcome everyone and happy Wednesday. We'll give it a minute to give attendees an opportunity to join.
Good question.
All right. Hello, I'm Melissa, Construction Success Manager here at Fieldwire. I'd like to thank you for joining us today for our live webinar on Fieldwire for Quality Inspections Advanced Session. Now, some of you might think I'll be hosting today, but actually today will be led by Stephen and Syed, experts on this topic. So to kick things off, just some housekeeping announcements. A reminder that this webinar will be recorded. A copy of the recording along with the slide deck will be emailed to you at the end of this conclusion. Now, to keep things on track, attendees will be muted throughout the session. You may input your comments in the chat and questions in the QA panes. We will try our best to get all your questions during the session and at the end of the presentation during our Q&A. For any questions that we didn't address during this session, we will have one of our experts reach out to you directly. Now, we're also going to be doing some pop quizzes throughout the webinar, so make sure to keep an eye on those. We will also be sending a survey after the webinar where you can provide your feedback in today's sessions and let us know how we did and how we can improve in future webinars. With that, I'd like to introduce you to our speaker and construction expert, Stephen Thomas, Construction Success Manager, Fieldwire, and Syed. Stephen and Syed, the stage is all yours.
Thanks so much, Melissa. And hey, everyone, thanks for joining us today. Great to have everybody here. Appreciate you taking the time to attend. Like Melissa mentioned, my name's Stephen Thomas, and I'm a Construction Success Manager here at Fieldwire. So my role is to help our customers get the most out of the platform. So running training sessions for teams, helping people figure out ways to customize Fieldwire to their use, anything our customers need, really. Like a lot of our construction team here at Fieldwire, I came from the industry myself before moving on to the tech side of things. I worked as an assistant superintendent and then as a project engineer for Bird Construction up in the Toronto area. With that in mind, I'll turn it over to my co-presenter, Syed.
Thank you, Stephen. Hello, everyone, and good morning. As you see, my name is Syed Sadat, and I work as a project engineer for Clark Construction. I've been working with Clark for the past 2.5 years in different capacities. I currently work as a deputy QC manager here at the BWI, the AB connector job, which is the Baltimore Washington International Airport AB connector. That includes the baggage handling system as well, a new baggage handling system. I've also worked at Clark in several capacities as estimating, as a scheduler, and as a fieldwide coordinator with multiple different trades. And currently, I work as a deputy QC manager with demo and several and MEP trades.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Syed. Excited to have you here and presenting with us today. Just a quick agenda for the webinar. This is an advanced session for quality inspections in Fieldwire. A couple weeks ago, my colleague Dylan Reed did an introductory session on how to use Fieldwire for QC and inspections. So we're going to kind of skip through some of the basic concepts and the overview of Fieldwire that Dylan already covered and try and build on some of that stuff. If you haven't seen that webinar, not a problem. You should still be able to follow along. But if you have any questions on some of the setup and some of the basic items, I'd recommend going back and watching that webinar. It's available, recording of it on our website. So today we're going to be starting off with a quick introduction and explanation about our custom forms tool. Can be a really good tool for doing inspections and quality control in Fieldwire. And Dylan didn't cover that in the introductory webinar, so we're going to talk about that today. Then we're going to jump into a real life example where Syed is going to walk us through some of the things he's been doing on the BWI project with Fieldwire. They're using it pretty advanced on that project, so it would be a great example for anybody looking to use Fieldwire for QC on their jobs. We'll finish off with the brief Q&A period and go through some resources available for people wanting to learn more. With that in mind, we'll jump to the live demonstration. Like Melissa mentioned, we are going to have a few pop quizzes throughout. The prizes for the first person to answer are some super comfy, very stylish Fieldwire t-shirts. So if you know the answer, just put it in the chat and we'll reach out to you after the webinar. Flipping over to Fieldwire here, we'll start the demonstration. So I'm on a sample project here, and if you look at the main menu here, you'll see I'm on the forms module. So just at a high level, what is our forms module? Pretty much like it sounds like, it's a way of filling out any kind of form that you might have done traditionally on paper on a site. You can now do that digitally with Fieldwire. So some common examples of use cases for Fieldwire forms might be daily reports, doing QC inspections, time and material tags, timesheets. You can build your own forms for whatever data you want to capture on site. So we see listed out here in these file folders are different form templates or types of forms, like a daily report. You can modify any of these and what content's being captured, or you can build your own entire new form for whatever your purpose is. The advantage of using Fieldwire forms versus a more traditional process like filling it out on paper or in Word or Excel, there's a few things. For one, it's digitized and instantly available to anybody on the project who want to see it. So if you're filling out a daily report or a timesheet maybe, instead of filling that out on paper and having to scan it in later to save it or getting lost in the shuffle of things, it's instantly saved in Fieldwire and available for anyone on the project to see. The other thing is time savings. You can go and fill out site. You can attach photos right from your phone instead of having to upload pictures to your computer and paste them into a Word file later. It's just a little bit more streamlined. And lastly, we can export forms in PDF or CSV format. And that CSV is really handy if there's any numbers you're entering into your forms and you want to analyze the data you're capturing. So to give an example, we'll open up a daily report form that I filled out. Just kind of walk through what it is. Up here, we have our form attributes, we call them. So different things like the assignee, due date. And down here, all these sections are customizable. So they're tracking different checkboxes, but I can specify what fields and what types of data I want to capture. So you can really build this form out for whatever you want to do. You could build it out for a very specific type of inspection, build your own daily report, pretty much anything. A little new feature here we added is custom calculations. So data you entered into here will automatically perform calculations that you define on that. Moving down, we have some photos attached to this and a signature field just for accountability so we can see who filled this out and when. Next, let's take a look at what an export of these looks like. So I'll show our concrete pre-pour checklist, another form. Here's the export. So you see at the top, we got our logo, and I just used Clark's today, project name and address, and all the data we captured in our form. Again, this is customizable. This is just kind of an abridged concrete pre-pour inspection form that I made, but you could expand this to capture whatever is important for your QC process. See the photos nicely attached and a signature field here at the bottom in a nice tidy format. Next, I want to flip over to an iPad and just show you quickly what it looks like to fill out a form while you're out on the go. So I'm going to hit the plus icon at the top here and select what type of form I want to fill out. We'll do a daily report just as an example here. You can name it July 27. Hit done. I can go and fill out this form. So I can go check items off here, add some notes. Good day on site. A little voice to text there to save time. I can go and fill out our work log if I wanted to. And what's kind of neat here is I can go and take photos right from my device, snap some pictures of our office, add a signature, and I can either sign as myself, or say I want like the general on the, or the owner on the project to sign. I could pass the iPad off to them and they could add their signature, and we've gone and filled out that form. Flipping back to the web, I refresh this page. You're going to see that that daily report we just filled out is now available and accessible to everyone. So that's just one example. Again, you could do it for an inspection, pretty much anything. We'll see some examples of how the BWI project is using it as well. The last thing I want to cover is if you do want to build your own form templates, you go to Manage Templates, and you can build your own or modify any existing ones. So for this daily report here, we see all these different sections filled out. I can click on any of them. So I unpublish it and go and modify what we're tracking here. I can add new sections. I can complete my table. There's a lot of options there. We have a really good article on our website about custom forms that breaks down how this works and explains how you can build your own. So that's a great resource to check. But if you need help and you're looking to build your own forms, you can also reach out to Fieldwire, and myself or somebody else from our construction team can get in touch with you to give you a hand. I'm going to flip over to Syed's project now. Kind of have him walk through a couple examples of how he's using Fieldwire and some of the advanced techniques he's using. But just to take a pause there, I want to have a quick pop quiz. This is a bit of a tricky one. I didn't cover it explicitly, but on Fieldwire checkboxes, so that would be like these checkboxes right here, how many different states are there for the checkboxes? So the blue check mark would be one, the red check mark would be, red X would be another. Just a reminder to put that in the chat, and the first person with the correct answer will win a free t-shirt. Now we're going to jump into Syed's project, the BWI job here. And Syed, I was wondering if you could just tell us, just high level broadly, you know, what were you hoping to achieve or accomplish by incorporating Fieldwire into your QC plan for the project?
Thanks, Stephen. So the biggest aim of our QC department was to make sure that we use less paper, and in the meantime, making sure that everyone on the team, as far as the quality management is concerned, is involved in, rather than sharing all the information in dispersed manner or wasting a lot of paper. And in this regard, we developed the checklist statuses to make sure what are the best processes that we need to make sure each task that is assigned to someone or to a team or to a subcontractor, and how we can track them. And as you can see over here, we have some tasks that are in progress or overdue or completed or closed. So these tasks go through multiple processes to make sure that the work is done for quality and contract documents. And as soon as the work is conformed with, in conformity with the contract documents, then the task gets completed. And at the end of the day, or at the end of the term, when it's every paperwork is complete, then it gets closed.
Oh, that's
so
perfect.
We've had many tasks here on a day-to-day basis actively on this on our project here at the BWI.
Great. And yeah, that's great. You can kind of see that workflow by these task statuses. Like we're on the task tab here, right? So all these columns here represent, they're sorted by the status each task is in. So if you watched the webinar, the introductory session a couple weeks ago, Dylan had configured task statuses a different way. So this is a great example of setting up those custom task statuses to suit a particular workflow for this project. I'm actually just going to go, because there's so many tasks here, and just filter out to pick out a couple to walk through. So if you remember, I just used that filter tool. That was kind of covered in a little more depth on the last introductory session. Opening up one of these tasks, Syed, I was wondering if you could just kind of walk us through how you set this up. Like I see this checklist here. What's this tracking, and what's going on in this task right now?
Right. So as you can see, it's one of our punch list items that we want to make sure that the subcontractor does its work in accordance with the contract documents, per the drawings and per the specs. And we want to make sure that prior to closing them out and having them demobilized, we want to go through several items that we want to make sure they have done them in a proper manner. And we have created tasks, whether they were done or they were not done, what was required, what items have been completed and what items have been remaining. And the items that are remaining, as you can see, they've been cross-marked that we would like to follow up with the subcontractor to see how they can address that issue or rectify that issue. And in the meantime, in our team, like the trade manager that we have, we shared our concern as part of the quality department to see how we can address that item before closing out this task and having the subcontractor getting demobilized.
Right. So that's Robert McDowell here, right? So you can kind of see that you're actually tagging him in this task, setting him as the assignee, and using this for a bit of communication between your team.
That is correct. And those are some of the areas of concern as well that we want to make sure that, you know, it's in our record as part of what we are looking for and what are the areas that we have issues with. So that way they can, the subcontractor can rectify and address them.
Oh yeah. No, that's perfect. I think that's a great example of using checklists of items that you need to look for, right? And then logging all the information related to it, like these photos. You've even marked up the issue here with the floor adhesive, and then using Fieldwire as a place to store everything related to this inspection. So tracking the issue and then using the task to actually communicate with your team and just keep everything in one place.
Yes, that's correct.
I like these markups. You can actually, if you didn't know, you can mark up any photo in Fieldwire if it's attached to a task, a plan, or a form. Flipping over to our next task here. I was wondering if you could walk through this one. It looks like there's another checklist here. There's a lot of good like back and forth and pictures stored here.
Yes. Yeah, this particular task is with regards to a concrete pour for a certain location. And we want to make sure that our tasks are smart, which means they have to be specific, measurable, and achievable for what we want to make sure that the location is determined. Mm-hmm. So this particular task has been assigned to the concrete work, and we have seen that each process that we needed to make sure that the concrete was supposed to take place has been achieved, and they've gone through certain review processes, QA and QC processes, and all the items that we made sure that they have to be involved as part of our quality checklist standpoint. The contractor has addressed them, and we have given them a go-ahead to start pouring concrete, and we're good with that. Oh, and perfect. On the other hand, we've also taken some pictures, and we've shared information with the owner's representative, quality inspection team, and that's how we have all these tasks and all the reports that we needed to get. At the end of the day, we've got them and we've closed the task.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I really like how you attach like this PDF file. So this is the actual like pour break, I believe, with the inspection. So does this just kind of keep everything organized? Like you have all your inspections and everything related to the pour in one spot?
Yeah. Yeah, that is correct. And we want to make sure that every information relating to that task is in one place. And what we do is at the end of the month, we send all these documents as a record copy to the owner's team.
Oh, great. Now is the owner's team in Fieldwire and able to see the reports feature, or how is that working?
So the owner's team has been actively involved with Fieldwire, and they've learned this software to the greatest extent. We provided them boot camp trainings on a weekly basis for 5 weeks, and they have been so they've got used to the program so well, and they're using it in a very easy manner. Like today, we had another checklist that we had to go through, and we showed them how we can sign a checklist, and they feel very comfortable with using the software.
Oh, perfect. That's great. Also, just a little call out here, you use the related task feature to record the results, and another kind of supplementary task here. I think that's a great use of that feature.
Yes, so we want to make sure that the task is completed and all the loose ends are covered and the loop is closed.
Oh, nice. Moving on to kind of one more here to look at. Wondering if you could explain this one. I think it's neat here how you linked in a form to this task as well.
Yes, this was also for one of the duck banks that was outside the project, but we wanted to make sure as part of the quality standpoint, we do everything in a systematic manner, and all the items that were needed as part of the quality, the checklist, the steps, the contractor has followed, and at the end of the day, all the backfill and covering up the trench has been done in a manner that, you know, that the contractor was supposed to per the contract documents. And we also had a form that we send out to the inspection team. The code, we call them the code inspection, which is the owner's representatives, and we send them this invitation through an email, and this form gets assigned to them at what time we need the inspection and when we need the inspection. But prior to that, as part of the quality, we ensure that our work is done before sending this form to them. So we track these invitations on all these checklists at the same time, while having all these checklists as a form so that they can sign it, and that way they can track it so that everything we have in a proper manner at the end of the day.
Oh, nice. No, that's perfect. I think that's a really cool example of using a form here, right? This inspection request and linking it to a task. I think one of the advantages of linking forms to tasks just in general, right? So I'll won't do it, but if you go to the paperclip icon here on a task, you can link a form to it. With tasks, we have all these great like task attributes and filters. You can assign start and end dates. You can schedule them and view them on the Gantt and calendar charts. So you can use a task to like plan an inspection or track the overall progress of something, and then link in any relevant data to it. So including like a form with more detailed inspection information, and then you can leverage all the filtering and searching abilities of tasks to find your forms and just kind of keep everything related to an inspection in one place. Yeah, great examples. Thanks for walking through that, Syed. Thought we'd jump over to forms now, and I wondered if you could kind of talk about a couple of these and just how you're using them for quality.
Right. So as part of the quality standpoint, we want to make sure that every paperwork that we do is in a systematic manner, starting from submitting the quality plan. After the quality plan is submitted and approved, and when the construction phase starts, we want to make sure that the submittals have been approved, all the shop drawings that have been submitted have been approved, and then after we understand that all the processes prior to the constructions have been addressed and have been completed, then we send out an invitation to the owner's representative, and we send them through the prep meetings or pre-activity meetings that we call here at the BWI, which covers an enormous aspect of the shop drawings approval, the permits, safety standpoint, all the environmental issues that we have. So everything, starting from the submittals to shop drawings to linking them to the drawings and specs, they're all included on the one page. And when everything is done as part of the quality, and the team is ready and the subcontractor is ready for mobilization and the starting of the work, then we send out this invitation to the owner's team, and that way we hold the pre-activity meetings. And at the end, when we have all the questions addressed in the meeting and the minutes are recorded, and the meeting minutes are put into this pre-activity meeting agenda and then sent out for record at the end.
Oh, great.
Then moving out to, if you could go to the daily reports that we've built from the pre-activity meetings, let's say we did the pre-activity meetings, then and the construction process starts, the construction phase starts, then we document each and every work, definable feature of work that we have on the job for that particular subcontractor. We cover them on a day-to-day basis, what our findings are, what issues we have, and how we address them, and what our recommendations were to the subcontractor. And if we have any weather-related issues, any safety-related issues we have, any material inspections we had for the day, and then if we had any inspections of the material, the report of the material gets attached to this report and then gets signed off by our senior quality control manager.
Oh, nice. Yeah, just kind of showing a couple forms here. These are great, like these material inspections as well with the photos. Oh, that's great. Other thing I want to note just on these forms, I don't think we covered it earlier, but anything you attach to your forms, those links are going to be live. So when you export your forms, even if they're not on Fieldwire, all those links are going to work and they're going to be able to see anything you attach to it. Just while I have a minute or two here, I want to quickly show one other feature on the Fieldwire tasks that wasn't covered in the introductory session. We actually have this graphs or analytics view at the end. I just think this is kind of a neat way to get an overview of where your tasks are at on a project. So you can see, group by category here, how many tasks are in each status. You can change this up by assignee, by plan, and by location. This can be a really useful tool to get like an overview of where your project's at in terms of punch list, in terms of open items. We even have a graph showing how the number of tasks in each status has changed over time. So it's kind of a useful feature from like an administrative and reporting standpoint. But yeah, thanks so much for that, Saeed. Just quickly to wrap up, I was wondering if you could just say like what, broad strokes, the value of using Fieldwire for QC has been.
Yes, so Fieldwire has been, Fieldwire team and the Fieldwire itself, the software has been doing a great job in terms of documenting and making sure that we built the work, we built the work right and we documented right. So it's a very good tool for documenting the quality management system here at the BWI. And I definitely encourage our team members to use the software to the maximum extent they can, and they will find this software very useful on their construction job sites.
Oh, that's perfect. Thanks so much for that. Little pop quiz question to end things off here. True or false? You can mark up any photo in Fieldwire that is attached to either a task, plan, or form. First person to answer correctly in the chat box will win a t-shirt. That done, we're just gonna switch back to our slide deck here and have a brief Q&A period. So if there's any questions, we'll try to answer them now. And if we don't get to yours, we'll follow up with you to get that addressed later.
All right, so now we're opening up the chat for questions. So make sure to input your questions in the questions panel. All right, so first question that we have. Okay, I like to invite my owner and subcontractors into Fieldwire, but I don't want them to be able to see every task and form on the project. How can I restrict what some users see?
Yeah, it's a really good question and one we get a lot, honestly. So I'm just gonna open up my sample project here. If we go down to this icon here, our people tab, we see everybody on the project and we can choose which permission level we assign them. So if we assign somebody to the follower permission, they're not gonna be able to see everything. So they're only gonna be able to see tasks that they are a watcher or assignee on, and they're only gonna be able to see forms that they've created or are an assignee on. We actually have an article here that breaks down what these different permission levels are able to do. There's a great matrix here that explains this in depth, and another article that breaks it down very specifically for forms. So there are definitely ways to limit what like owners or subcontractors you bring onto Fieldwire can see. Yeah, great.
Now, another one. Is it possible to build checklists on the iPad in the field, or is this only available on the desktop?
Yeah, so I would recommend if you're going to use the same like checklist over and over again on like multiple tasks, if you go down to their settings here, you can actually go and build out checklist templates. So I would recommend building these out and saving them and then attaching them to a task, but you can do it on the fly on the iPad. You can add checklist items to particular tasks. So if we open up a task here and go to plus and add a checklist, we can link in any saved checklist we've added. Yeah, good question.
All right. So that brings us to the end of the webinar. Any questions that we didn't get through today, we'll be sure to follow up after this webinar.
Perfect, thanks so much. And just to finish off here, we are doing another webinar on August 10th. hosted by my colleague Dylan Reed. So if you're interested in that, it's going to be on Fieldwire project and account setup. You can go and sign up for that on our website. If you're looking for more support or more information, we have our great knowledge base here. That's a list of like help articles. We have public on-demand webinars that are like the introductory session my colleague Dylan did on our website. And we have a YouTube channel with a number of how-to videos. You can also reach out to support@fieldwire.com for any assistance or to get in touch with somebody from our team for help. Thanks so much, everybody. Really appreciate everyone attending. Again, we are going to send out a follow-up email with the recording and a short survey. We'd really appreciate it if everybody could take the time to fill out this survey so we can figure out what we can do better for the next webinar. Thanks so much. Have a great day.
Thank you, everyone.